even when I decided to retire from the game. Now, a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, was my knee bone on bone probably my entire career? Yes.
Yes.
Should I have played? I played in the NBA and as good as I was because of injury. If it's scientific, no. So I overcame a lot.
All right, bang, bang. Welcome back here. It is Rebuilded with Tim Grover and Eddie. This is week 5. We're already over halfway done now, Tim.
Already
halfway done. We are here presented by Gametime. Today, we are going to get into the difference. And this is actually was emailed in, but I was like, you know what? This is great. It's just a topic in general. So Thank you to the emailer who sent it in. The split between cardio and working out, or lifting weights, excuse me, because that's always, I feel like that's like one of the biggest burning questions when it comes to working out. And so I'll get into that. We also have Dwyane Wade joining us. We had a great conversation with Dwyane. It was a lot of fun. So let's get into that first, Tim. Cardio versus weights. How do you break it down? And obviously everybody's different, but let's go with an overweight person. Let's go with someone like me. What do you think is the good balance, or how do you see it as far as that goes?
Well, it depends on what your goals are. Obviously, that's what it is. Now, there's a lot of times you can do your weight training and cardio at the same time. You can do like a circuit, you know, where you're not resting, or you can do a cardio set cardio session in between a set. You could do a set of weights and then do cardio. Do another set of weights and do cardio. Obviously, it would be better if you had your own facility, your own gym, or a place that wasn't as crowded to be able to do that. Going from back and forth, you can go from exercise to exercise to keep the heart rate up. But the one thing about, they both serve their benefits. So what happens is, the more muscle you have on your body, all right. So from lifting weights, resistance training. It's not even weights, lifting. It revs up your metabolism rate. It allows you to burn more calories at rest. So that's the one thing. So a person who has lean muscle mass and a person that has a higher fat percentage, the person that has a lean muscle mass is going to burn more calories at rest. All right. So the best way to do it, if you have to incorporate both of them, is if you do your cardio first. What happens is you're going to be a little bit fatigued, and you're not going to be able to lift the same amount of weight. You're going to be a little tired. If you lift first, it will not affect your cardio as much. You'll still be able to keep the same intensity and do the same things that you're able of doing. Cardiovascular activity will not give you, I won't say it will not give you, it's harder to get muscle definition with just doing cardio activity. You'll get leaner, you'll get thinner, but if you're looking for defined muscles and so forth, very, very difficult to do that with just through cardio. I know you'll see a lot of classes that involve different, apparatuses, the different, I don't know, spinning classes, whatever you want to call them, that people ride the bicycles or so forth. And sometimes, they'll be on the bike and they'll lift the real light dumbbells to say, okay, that'll allow them to get some muscle development. It really doesn't work that way. It's nice to have a balance before, but if you had to cheat, if you were doing cardio and weights on the same day, and you did not want to incorporate them together like in a circuit thing, I always recommend doing your weight training first, and then doing your cardio afterwards. Now, it doesn't always have to be that way. You can come in, and if your goal isn't to be extremely strong and push a lot of weight, there are times where you can do your cardio first and then do your weight training after. But our general rule is you should always do your weight. You should always do a warm up, do your resistance training, and then finish off with the cardio. I don't recommend doing that every single training session. I used to be an individual that would lift and do cardio 6 days a week. All right. And what I found that would happen was I was doing too much cardio, and it was forcing me to actually eat more than what I wanted to, because I was actually hungry all the time. I was just constantly hungry. And that's a real tough balance for people to find. What is the right amount of actually working out where you could sustain a healthy nutrition plan and not have the cravings from overtraining and being hungry? Because what happens is you see individuals that come in and they work out so hard, whether it's weights or cardio or a combination of both, but then they go home and they're so hungry and they eat an abundance of calories, and they come back they feel guilty the next day, then they do more of the same thing, and you can never find that balance in there. You're better off doing a shorter training session, cardio session at a higher intensity level. Now, obviously, there's different rules to this thing. People say, if you're trying to burn off more fat, and if you keep your heart rate at a lower level and do it for a longer period of time, the fuel source that you're going to use is mostly stored fat. If you're a professional bodybuilder like Phil Heath or all these different individuals, or at his level, yeah, there's a lot of validity to that. But generally, all right, doing a higher intensity cardio for a shorter period of time will have a more of a longer term benefit than doing a slower cardio for a longer period of time. The weight training, I always recommend. The resistance training, if you can, I recommend doing that first, even if your goal is just weight loss. Now, you'll get a lot of people that also, this is the other thing that comes in. Well, if I lift weights, I'll get too bulky. You're not going to get too bulky. All right, individuals that get, I don't want to. Yeah, everybody goes to the extremes. They'll see somebody at the gym that's like, really muscular or really defined, male or female, and you'll get somebody who hasn't been in the gym, and they'll be, I don't want to look like her, or I don't want to look like them. That individual has been training for a long time. You're not even at that level where you're even going to get close to working like that individual.
Yeah, you got a long way.
You got a long way.
That's interesting. Yeah. And that's what I'm learning a lot more about you, is how personalized everything is when it comes to this.
It is. It does. You could have a general program that will work for individuals. I mean, you have people that go to these studios that work out. They're literally in that studio and they're doing cardio anywhere from 4 to 6 times a day, and they are getting health benefits from it. But from an aesthetic standpoint, their body really isn't changing. Because the balance of the intensity that they're doing in those cardio classes and the caloric intake that they're eating, it's not working together.
It doesn't match up.
It is not going to work together. So what happens, and it doesn't matter. You can go in one of those studios and literally take that 45-minute class and burn 500, 1,000 calories, whatever it may be. You're going to be able to eat 1,000 calories a hell of a lot quicker than you're going to be able to burn it off.
Yeah, and that's what I think. That kind of what you said kind of comes full circle here to this show, because there's people, and we said at the first episode that this wasn't going to be like a drop and give me 20 kind of thing. It wasn't going to be a you just working me out and me just sweating my ass off and whatever. And that's that says it right there. Like we're starting really slow. Like as you guys heard, the past workouts, 500 steps or, beat your time. And the reason for that is because, and especially for me, and that's why I like this program we're in right now. This is a long-term game. Like, yeah, this is an 8-week series, but at the same time, I want to put myself in a position to succeed forever.
Forever. That's the whole point. And how do you learn? How do you succeed forever? It's getting the education, getting the understanding process of what's going on, why certain things work, and who do they work for. And I always just say, this has to do a lot with the psychology of working out, the psychology of nutrition and so forth. You have to figure out and understand, not just for you, for individuals out there, what's causing you to binge eat or to eat eat the wrong foods. What's going on? Is it individuals in your life? Is it circumstances in your life? Is it stress? Is it pressure? What it is? That's a thing that has to be dealt with, because if that's not dealt with, I can give you the perfect nutrition plan. I can give you the perfect exercise program, which it doesn't exist, and you're still going to end up failing. You're still going to end up failing, or you'll get the results for a little while, and you're going to end up falling off the program. So understand the reasons of why you're doing certain things. It's the same individuals that people that go to the gym, work out so hard, go home, eat terrible or eat too much, and they're back in the gym working out again the next day, then go back. It's the cycle, and you end up getting frustrated because you're not seeing the results. In order to see the results, you got to be able to see what's going on in your head first, and what's causing all the situations that's going on, and are causing you to whether go out and say, hey, I did great for 4 days, and now Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to do whatever. Because circumstances is funny. The reason people have a hard time with the nutrition plan on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, because most individuals, your circumstances change on Friday, Saturday, Sundays, on the weekends. The people you're hanging around with, you have more idle time. You're not spending as much time at work. You could be at home more, or you could be out at restaurants, or you could be in Chicago. There's a big it's a good time for the weather's warm. You're going out at the different festivals and all this other stuff. So those are all circumstances that change. And that's why a lot of times people have a hard time over the weekend trying to figure this out, because what's happened when your circumstances change, your psychology changes, your mental state changes. And that's why a lot of times people fall off their diets on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or their nutrition programs. And then Monday, it's when your circumstances go back to quote unquote normal on Monday. You handle it well on Monday, you handle it well on Tuesday, you handle it well on Thursday, you handle it well on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But then again on Friday, the cycle starts all over again, and that's not what I want for you.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I mean for that why question, like it's for most people, like it's just a social thing, right? Like you said, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, a social has a lot to do with it. It's not only a social thing; it's making the right decisions. It's who are those social individuals with. I mean, it's funny. I've never understood this. Is if you go out and you don't want to eat a certain thing, why the other person feel guilty because you don't want to eat something. Or you don't want to drink today, or you don't want to have another drink, or you don't want to have a glass of wine, or you're like, I'm only going to have one beer. It's just like, it's like they start to feel guilty because you're making a decision that's best for you. Well, and that's where the whole psychological component comes in of who you're hanging out with, what you want to do, and especially like in this city here. when it warms up, people like to be out.
Oh,
They like to be on the roof decks. They like to be out in the parties. You know, the restaurants. You get to sit outside. But those decisions still have to be yours.
Mm-hmm. Do you as far as like in situations where like maintaining, do you view that as a bad thing? Like when it comes to like seasonal change and whatnot? Like
what do you mean maintaining?
Like, I mean, if someone's like, all right, like it's a summer, you know, it's a good time to, you know, there's things going on. There's
enjoy yourself. I'm not telling you to enjoy. I'm not telling you not to enjoy yourself. All right, but your enjoyment may be completely different than somebody else's enjoyment. Mm-hmm. Somebody else's enjoyment might be like, hey, listen, we're going to the Rib Fest.
Yeah.
All right, and we're gonna go chow down on ribs or whatever it may be, or we want to try all these different beers and all the different tequilas or whatever it may be. If that's what you want to do, go out and do it. But understand that with every decision and circumstances, there is going to be a price to pay. There is going to be an end result to pay. Just like there's a price to pay with not working out enough, there's a price to pay with working out too much. There's a price to pay with understanding what we just talked about, when to do your resistance training, when to do your cardio. I mean, you already know what those decisions, you already know what the circumstances and the decisions and what the end result is going to be when you do those things. So if you know you're going to if you know you're going to have that festival or that plan or whatever, you're going to have that party on Friday, all right? Start making better decisions earlier in the week, and know that, hey, limit yourself to the amount of bad decisions you're going to make. All right, I'm not telling you to eliminate them altogether, and then understand that the next day, you got to get back. You got to get back on track.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, where it's like if you really got to put what you want to the forefront.
Yeah, not what somebody else wants.
Because I know what it is for me. Like you said, like I love those kind of rib fests and shit like that.
I do too.
What I mean? Yeah.
I do too. It's not like I don't. I just like, but you have to. If you're trying to do a plan.
Yeah.
What's more important to you? What is more important to you? Is that festival more important to you? Or is you at this stage in your life, or this stage where you are, is losing weight and being in bed? What is? Because guess what? The next month there's going to be another. Yep. There's going to be another festival you can do at. They also happen in the fall. They also happen in the winter. They're going to come back. They're going to come back next year. You have to make those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make other people guilt you into the decision that's best for you.
And like to be clear though, you're just about bouncing back though. Like if someone was to make those decisions, but I mean you can't go overboard.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Enjoy yourself. Go ahead. I'm not telling you. I'm not an individual that says this where you're so strict where you can't have any of this stuff. I've never been that involved. I've never put people on those type of programs.
Unless if it's Dwyane Wade for his 6 weeks in Chicago, which we're going to get to soon.
Well, just understand those decisions and understand what's important at this stage for you. And if you do fall off, get back on. Don't kill yourself. Don't beat yourself over it and have a day and just say, oh man, you know what? Oh, I did this and now my whole summer is screwed. I'm just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, the bounce back is key.
Yeah, and you're always gonna do it. Remember, if you drop, the one thing about about the bounce back. When you drop a ball, no matter what height you drop it from, it's not going to bounce back to the same. It's not going to bounce back to the same height. All right. And each bounce is going to be a little bit less, and a little bit less, and a little bit less. So each bounce, if you keep dropping that ball over and over again, that bounce back is going to be a little bit more harder to do, harder and harder and harder and harder.
So to kind of put a bow on the whole cardio versus weights thing, so you would, it's complex because you would recommend people split those times based on what they need at that point. So is there, like, talk to someone who could give you that program, or what would you say? Like, how do you internally, if you're like, hey, maybe I can't afford a trainer, or maybe my trainer.
There's so much information out there through, this podcast, other podcasts, Google it, YouTube, all this other stuff. But make sure the person that you're listening to has some credibility and it has actually done something. Just don't look at the person just because the person, you look at the expert and they look like they're in great shape for themselves, or whether it's male or female or whatever it is. That doesn't make them an expert at those things. But don't go overboard with the information too. All right, if you're just starting an exercise program and you want to get back going again, don't make things too complex. Look at your schedule. Listen, if you're just getting into the gym and you're like, listen, I have to do my cardio first. Go do your cardio first. All right. That's the way it is. If you just say, listen, right now, all I want to do is to lose weight, and the way I know best the way to do it is to do cardio. I'm trying to give you some education, information about it. Listen, if you incorporate resistance training in there, you'll end up burning more calories. You'll end up burning more calories at rest. If you can do a combination of both of those, it doesn't have to be every single day. If you want to go for individuals that can get to the gym get to a workout place 4 days a week, guess what? You can do resistance training 2 of those days, and you can do cardio the other 2 days. There's a lot of ways of mixing there. There is no real actual right or wrong way to do it. There's better and more effective, but there isn't any right or wrong.
Just do it, like the diet. It all work. You just got to do it.
You got to move the body. You got to move the body.
Yeah.
You got to move the calories out versus calories expended versus calories taken in. I know it's so simple. This
is how it should be, though.
Yeah.
Like people get too many. Like, oh well, you don't want that because that's gonna, the glucose and that, you know what I mean? Like, don't do this. I feel like it gets too complex.
It gets so
to a point where
every complex, it creates another level of confusion. It creates another level of individuals being able to fall off their program. People want, it's just like everybody wants to start at level 10, and you haven't mastered level 1 yet. You haven't even understood level 1 yet, and people love to get into all the different complexities. I hear that if you go to this class, you burn this many calories. Well, if you don't enjoy doing that, you're not going to stick with it. You're not going to do it. But again, you have to, is it enjoyment because it's easy for you, or is it enjoyment because it's also challenging for you and you're getting those results?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's like, it's weird because and I actually like this because people are they gravitate towards those people are like, here's what you need to do. But I don't think it's really like that. And obviously you don't either. So it's refreshing to hear almost.
Yeah, it doesn't. Listen, there's no one way. There's no one way of figuring this out. All right, just for a lot of individuals, listen. If the way the weather is turning right now and how it is, you don't even have to go in. You don't even have to go inside. All right, you can literally you can go to the beach, or you can go out and walk and do some calisthenic exercises in between in the parks or whatever it is. Your body, one of the things when I call this resistance training, I don't call it the weight training. Your body is with the way the body is designed and its levers and so forth, you can create a lot of resistance exercises just with your own body weight. Just with your own body. You don't have to go to a gym. Yeah, people love going to gyms because they like to pick up the weights and they see things and they get to see other individuals. And if that's your thing, go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. I know individuals that go out for 2.5 hour walks. Mm-hmm. I think they're nuts, but they do.
That's what they do. Right? That's their thing. Yeah. All right, then. That was interesting stuff. That was kind of a good breakdown about how there's not really a true breakdown. There's listen, move, just move. Yeah. You want to burn calories, move. All right. That's it. Just move your body and be conscious of what you're putting. Don't make this more complex than it is. Mm-hmm. They just don't. Everybody, you'll get individuals that'll talk about, about if when I just made it very simple about the calories in versus calories out, and people will get into, well, you know what, that technically that isn't right because then you'll start burning muscle and. You're so far away from burning muscle and doing these different things that it's just people, they learn so much, but then they're learning at a level that they're not even ready for, or they're passing on information to an individual who's not at that level. Mm-hmm. That's the level where, someone like Dwyane Wade needs something like that, a more complex program.
Right. So it's fun when the times that we spent together is we would train. Now he works out. There's a huge difference. Yeah. There's a huge difference between the two. Mm-hmm. With my professional athletes, I trained them. All right. Now he's in a different stage in his life. He doesn't need to technically train because we were training for a certain sport, a certain movement pattern, and so forth. Now he's working out.
Yeah, you were getting specific things better.
Yes.
Whereas like working out your overall feels like that's what the goal is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, interesting stuff. I think Dwyane Wade, I think that's it was a great guest. You guys are so close. It was pretty cool to kind of hear his recollection of you guys working together and whatnot. So it's a fun interview.
Yeah, Dwyane and I relationship goes back to 20 plus years, and just to see him continue to evolve as a person, as a parent, as somebody in the public eye, the different things that he's had to overcome and where he is, and it's a fascinating story, and it's just what's great about his story. He's right from here.
Yeah, that's what I've always I don't like you said your situation when the first time you rang that doorbell and it was Michael on the end, and it was I'm the same way. I don't really get like too starstruck and whatnot, but something about him and being from here it was really cool to talk to him, and I kind of felt that today. So it was cool. It was awesome. But yeah, without further ado, let's kick it over to Dwyane Wade. All right, hey, before we get to Dwyane Wade, though, we do want to talk about our great presenting sponsor, and that's the Gametime app. It's created by fans for fans. Gametime is a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. They cracked the code on how to score last-minute tickets, Tim. At the time of this recording, we don't know if the Miami Heat are going to be in the championship if not, but I'm sure if you're a Heat fan, you're listening to this Wade interview, you're going to want to check out the Gametime app if you want to go to the finals game.
Yes. Hey, listen. Go get the best seats you can possibly get. For people that if you haven't gone to a Miami Heat game, it's an experience.
Yeah.
It's an experience, and the best way to get that experience is to get the best tickets.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, even if it's Boston too, we talked Boston's a great stadium as well. So
Boston is a great stadium. Boston is different types of fans in those two stadiums.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very different. And like we were talking about earlier, too, there's going to be a Game 7 of something, whether it be NBA, NHL. There's a lot of great action right now coming up with our winter sports. So make sure you're using the Gametime app when you look at those, when you look to buy those tickets. So the purchase process takes just 2 taps and 10 seconds. And once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with friends via text, so you can get into the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. Download the Gametime app, go to the account tab and create a login and redeem code REBUILD for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Download Gametime. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, let's hop over to Dwyane Wade. All right, interview portion of the show here. We are joined by Dwyane Wade. Dwyane, welcome to the show. Tim, client of yours, longtime client. I'm excited for this one.
Man, I've known this young man since he came out of Marquette and walked into the gym for pre-draft workout. I don't know how many years that is, but we've had a ongoing relationship that's just blossomed from business to friendship to mentor to everything. Oh.
Almost 20 years ago, TG.
Wasn't it? It's unbelievable how time flies. You know, I've been around for all his children, everything, the good, the bad, stuff that's gone in life. I've been fortunate and blessed to be a part of all that with him.
No, it's been on my side. You know, when I first got into the NBA, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and to have the opportunity as a 21-year-old, but, you know, really young in the basketball world, in the sense where no one really, you know, knew who I was like that. And I've only had a certain level of experience playing at a certain level. So to be able to go to train with the guru, be able to be trained by Tim Grover, and not only that, to be able to be around all the NBA guys, right? Like in the summertime, to be able to hear the conversations, be able to see the way guys trained or didn't train. Man, that was so huge for me as a young kid. That wasn't exposed to a lot, you know, before that. And so I've always appreciated the relationship that we started from then and that we've continued to have throughout these 19, almost 20 years, man. It's been amazing.
He did such a great job preparing himself for the draft that he was literally, and he knows his story, that he was supposed to be a Chicago Bull. And I think they were picking at either 6 or 7.
7. Yeah.
They were picking at 7.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me, man.
and people know the story. I got a call like 2 hours before the draft, and it was Pat Riley. And Pat Riley says, "We have a decision here. We're deciding between Chris Kaman and Dwyane Wade." And before he even could get Wade out the thing, I said, "Take Dwyane." He goes, "But we need a center." I said, "Take Dwyane." Oh, he go, and then we went back and forth. We went back and forth on this. I said, "Listen, I can't tell you what this kid has, but he's got that it factor, and I see it every single day." And I was training both of them. I was training Kaman also for the draft, and I was also training Dwyane for the draft. And I said, they're both going to be excellent players, but one has a potential to be iconic.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something, huh, Dwyane?
It's good to hear those stories. This is the stuff that you don't get to hear about or know what's going on before a life-changing moment. They have a little conversation before it.
Yeah. And I didn't know whether it influenced his decision or not. That was it. But listen, he ended up in the Heat. He ended up being where he was supposed to be.
Yeah, you know, the one thing, even going back to that, is, first of all, Tim, I was afraid to not, like you got to understand who you are in this game, right? Mm-hmm. And so I win a ticket. I win like a lottery ticket to be able to prepare myself to go out and prove people, you know, wrong about me, and I get to do it with, who arguably, you know, what we've always talked about is one of the greatest to do this, right? As a guru. And my only job that I had to do was show up every day and be on time, which means be early, and work my butt off and listen to everything that you had to offer me. And I would have been a fool not to be there every day, be willing to work, and be able to listen to everything that you have, because you've been around the players that I want to be like. You've been around one of the players, Michael Jordan, who I envisioned playing this game because of him, right? And so I felt lucky to work every day to be able to come in that gym and be able to, like, you know, just work hard to know that I'm getting closer and closer to my dream. So I didn't know the conversations that Tim was having with anybody on my behalf. I just know I was showing up every day, respecting his time and respecting, you know, my time as well for the work that I needed to put in.
Listen, there's so many clients that I've had the opportunity to work with, but there's few of them that stand out. And and you would literally go to war for some of them, and he was one of them. I remember when when MJ was looking for a new individual for his Jordan brand. I said, I got the guy for you. I said, I got the perfect individual for you. He amplifies everything that you want, everything that you want. You know, when Dwyane was part of the Olympics, having a conversation with the coaches back then, and when he had actually before he actually met Kobe, I had a talk with Kobe. I said, Kobe, I need you to look out for my young fella. Because they kind of knew each other, but they didn't know each other. But they was going to be spending a lot of time together. And then I had to pull Dwyane aside and say, "Hey, listen, you're about to see Kobe in a completely different light, you know, in a completely different way." I said, "Be ready, be ready." So, and you know what? You have to be careful who you introduce people to, because your reputation and your character is on the line. And then when you go out and when you go out and you vouch for somebody, you know before you vouch for them that they're going to deliver, and he's delivered in every single aspect.
So is it like the relationship, obviously like pre-draft workouts and everything? When did you guys become like fully one-on-one, when he was going to Miami to help out when you were having injury issues and whatnot? When did that fully begin?
I mean, it was going on for a while. We stayed in communication for years. I mean, there was times where there was years that I actually got a place in Miami so I could be close to him, and I was actually training him and Kobe during the same season, going back and forth between LA and Miami. So with my clients who are that dedicated, it's their level of a commitment. If they're those individuals that, like, hey, listen, I need you here, so-and-so. It's like, I'm on the plane. Because when they're calling, there's a reason they need, because they want to win so badly. And there's certain circumstances, whether it's physical or mental or something that happens, that they're willing to share with me, and they're willing to confide in me and trust in me, because I'm not going to judge them. And I understand that I work for them, and it's about them, and it's about the client. It's about the client first. So, I mean, that relationship went on for like, 13 years. And then, you know, it got to the point where it was time for us to go our separate directions. And we understood that, but we never took it personally. And we've always maintained a relationship. Anytime he needs me, I pick up the phone. Anytime I text him, he hits me back. We talk about family. We talk about, you know, he has a son now who actually has a chance to go to the next level. We've been discussing a plan for that. So it's an evolving thing.
I would say, for me, first of all, as we know, TG was ahead of his time. You know, right now we get to see athletes who have personal trainers. Everyone have their own personal trainer, body, court, PTs. I mean, it wasn't like that at first, especially when he first started with him. It wasn't even close to that. And so I think the smart ones, the ones that were dedicated to it, we tried to keep our claws close to, you know, someone that we knew can help take us to this next level. And for me, one of the most important times of my life was 2008, when I had shoulder surgery and also had knee surgery. And this was coming right shortly off of my championship run in 2006, where I was literally on top of the world as a basketball player. And shortly after, I had these surgeries. And I remember the Olympics. And I know Tim noticed I wasn't really high on their list as one of the guys thinking about making an Olympic team. And it pissed me off. And I remember having a conversation with TG. He said, I just need 6 weeks uninterrupted, and I have you ready for the Olympics. I have you better than you've ever been. And I was like, well, listen, if I'm going to trust anybody, I'm going to trust this guy. And I moved to Chicago. I got a condo downtown. I was going through a very tough time in my life. I was going through a separation from my kid's mom. And I just gave TG 6 weeks uninterrupted. And he got me mentally and physically prepared to do something that, had changed my life, getting a chance to go to the Olympics and play with Kobe and Bron and CP and all those guys, right? And so for me, man, like you said, we've always had that relationship where no matter what it is, we feel like we're family. And it's not just a training aspect of this. My driver, my assistant who works with me every day, he's here because the TG gave him a nod. He said he's the right guy, so, it's a family thing, man. And I'm just lucky that I have someone in my life that has experience that I didn't know, because my dad wasn't from this world, this industry. He didn't know anything. I couldn't go to him for advice. The only thing I had is really my agent and Tim. And, luckily I had those guys because it worked out for me.
And then the story that he was telling about, he had to have surgery on both, and everybody, people, they were discussing, well, do one and do the other. I said, no, get them both done. If we want to do this Olympics, let's get it both done. Let's give us the 6 weeks, and then from there, arguably during that Olympic run, if I correct me wrong, you led the team in scoring, correct?
Yeah.
And a lot of people said on that Olympic team he was by far the best player.
I had the best role.
But you were smart enough to understand that role.
Oh yeah, no, I'm no fool now.
Yeah.
I definitely was smart to understand where I was going to be able to be my best at. But that summer, that 6 weeks was the hardest 6 weeks of my life. And I've dealt with a lot of things growing up, but to really rehab yourself back from a shoulder and knee surgery at the same time, prepare yourself to play against the greatest players in this world. The work I had to put in, the hours we had to dedicate, the mental that took place, because it was moments where I was like, fuck this, I don't have it, I'm done. It was moments where I didn't believe neither. And that was a very important time in my life as a man, as a young man, to overcome something that a lot of people didn't even know I was dealing with, right? And so it was an important summer for me, man.
And then I invited Jerry Colangelo because, like he said, he wasn't real high on the list, and I had called him and I just said, listen, you need to make a trip down to Chicago. You need to come in and see Dwyane. You need to come and see him. I said, you're going to see him play. I said, I'm not hiding anything. You're going to see him compete against some of the top NBA guys in my gym, because that's all we allowed in there. Back then, Dwyane knowed. We didn't allow entertainers to play in those pickup games. We didn't allow rappers. We didn't allow actors. We didn't allow any of that stuff. You go to a lot of places now where it's more about the social media. It's more about getting the social media view. You had to be a legitimate NBA player just to even get on the court. We'd have rookies that were like, listen, you're not playing today. You are not overseas guys. You are not playing today. You guys, if you show up and one of these guys gets tired, I may work you in. But if we have all the clients there all the time, these are the individuals that got to play. And the minute Jerry came in, he watched Dwyane play 2-3 games, and after that, it was a done deal. It was a done deal.
Yeah. TJ, you remember when Bron and CP came down and Melo and those down? We closed the gym up.
Yep.
And we got if that was something that was videoed and the world could see, like right now, man, that was one of the coolest moments, especially for me, as I was getting myself prepared to compete against the best. Like it was like Tim put me on this slow progression, and then it got to the point where that was my last test. And my guys came down and we all hooped in the gym. We shut the doors and, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow camera phones in there. I wouldn't allow people to text. I wouldn't allow any of this. It was their sanctuary during that time to be able to perform, do things, say things without it getting out in social media, without doing any of that stuff. It was their private moments to focus in on their craft. And the funny thing about it is when he started his rehab process and I would allow him to play, the games would only go up to 7. I would allow him to play 1 game and then he'd be like, man, I feel good. Come on. You got to sit down now. There's a whole progression about this. Oh, he was pissed. He was pissed. But that shows you the level of trust. That shows you level of trust and where it had to be. I said, listen, this is all. I saw enough today. That's all we're going to do. I said, trust the process as we go on. And the big thing about that, the show is called the Rebuild. And that was a huge part of the rebuilding process for him, physically and mentally. Like he said, in 2006, being on top of the world, and then all of a sudden having 2 major injuries at the same time. You talk about a physical and rebuilding process that he had to go through.
Yeah.
Along with going through a personal battle off the basketball court.
Yeah. The one thing was what I feel that was important in your gym and your sanctuary was, I think players that really bought into it understood that you were going to be truthful and you were going to be honest. And like, I remember the summer with Q Rich. Q Rich came in about 50 pounds overweight. Wasn't happy, you know what I mean? And like, you see, some guys may be afraid to say things to players. But TG wasn't having it, right? Like, before you even get on that court training, it's a whole process to lose this weight before you even go, right? Like, and I never forget that. And I was like, wow, this is an honest man. And to tell guys who's making hundreds of millions of dollars that and however he decided to put it, just being truthful and being honest. And then Q Rich, he able to pull 5 more years out of his career after that, come to Miami, going to Orlando, because he believed in what Tim was telling him. And then he lucked around and got a chance to go to Miami, and they continued that same mentality. So just that honesty, man, and that trust that you have with someone can be very important in an evolution of your career. You see guys that get older, and it's always tough to see, like, what is a former superstar, what is a superstar once he gets a certain age? How can he continue to be good at the game of basketball? And sometimes it's just that truth and it's that honest conversation. Yeah. And everyone don't have it. So
were these games like intense, or were, you guys were all friends? Was it just kind of like
oh, they don't want to lose. There's no friendship during those games. Not whatsoever. It's all, man. There's more.
It wasn't friendly. I said not then. It wasn't back then. Like, it's a different. We're living in a different time now, and social media get to show it differently. There was no cameras in there, and everybody knew what they was coming. Like, you was coming into the gym and Hoops Gym, you was coming to Tim Grover Gym, you knew what it was. And you felt honored to be able to get a spot. Like he said, you got guys who's played in this league, you got young guys, you got overseas guys, you got guys who's sitting on the sideline that may never get into one of these runs. And so it meant a lot if you was one of those guys that was out there and that was playing. And even if you ever got a chance to shoot the ball, it was sometime I may not shot the ball for 2 or 3 games. Like, I'm out there with vets. So, honor.
And we organized the games. We picked the teams. It wasn't like these guys came in and said, I got this. We picked the teams. We would put, to see who the most competitive thing was, where it was. If we had teammates, we'd put them together. And the other thing is, we had 3 NBA referees refereeing the games. So it wasn't like, you had 3 NBA refs. So it wasn't like you could argue the fouls and do all that other stuff. They were out there refereeing the basketball. I'm talking about legitimate NBA refs, not people that wear the patch that says NBA ref. These were the same guys that they had relationships with during the seasons.
Yeah. And then, you know what? That was another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. I remember having the opportunity to sit down with like Danny Crawford or Mark Davis or, Chicago refs that would come in that just reffing the playoffs.
James Capers. Yeah.
And to be able to sit down and have, like, when we're on the court, sometimes, things are said and you can get attacked, or the relationship can be tainted because of, the competitiveness in that moment. But to take away from that and come in the summertime and talk about, all right, why did you call that on me? Or why did you call this? Or why is this not a foul? Or is this a travel? To be able to have the relationship with the refs, to be able to ask those questions. I remember, Tim and I went in the gym and we were talking with Danny, and we was asking about this one move that I thought was a travel. That Tim was like, this is, and I thought it was a change of pivots. And so just to be able to go in there and understand that, I used that move to my advantage the next season, because he let me know, no, that is not a travel. You can actually do that.
Yeah.
I really wish there was tapes of this. This sounds amazing.
This is the way we did. This is the way we did. This was a level of standard when you have high level individuals as MJ, Wade, Kobe, all these, the Juwan Howard, Michael Finley, Quentin Richardson. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I can honestly say those runs will never ever be duplicated again because of what Dwyane said. It's a completely different time. It's a completely different time now.
Is that just because like people are more concerned about their brand off the court, Dwyane? Like people are just they know they don't want to get someone too mad because this could be another connection, open door in the future. Is that a reason why?
I don't know. It's just a different time. So like even in parenting, right? I'm parenting different than my parents did, and it's just the generation that we're in, and it evolves, it changes, it grows. No one knows if it's for the better or the worse. Like if you're from the generation before, you think it's worse. If you're from the generation now, you're like, this is how it should be. And so I get to see it in so many different levels of life. And I don't, the way that the guys play the game today, that's not the way we grew up playing the game overall, but that doesn't mean that it's the wrong way. That just means that the generation in the game continues to keep evolving and growing. And this is their game now, and they can do as they please with it, right? Just like we did. And so I don't judge the generation now. I mean, we can all sit in a room and talk about why our generations was better and tougher and all these things. But to me, it's a pointless conversation. I just think that, as a player, for me, it didn't matter that Tim Grover was as great as Tim Grover was if Dwyane Wade didn't want to be great, right? It didn't matter how good Tim was if I didn't come in every day to bring in that mentality that I'm going to listen, I'm going to learn, I'm going to work. And so it's based on individuals more so than it's based on the generation. So it's whatever you want out of yourself and out of your life is what you're going to be willing to put in. And everyone has a different level of that.
I always say I'm only as good as my clients allow me to be. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm only as good as my clients allow me to be. That's it. And then what's interesting about these guys is, you have a reputation of working with individuals, but I always wanted to be judged with these individuals by what I did for them. That's all that matters. Because you can do something with another client, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it with the next one and the next one and the next one and so forth. And like I said with him, I got a relation. I've known his wife. I've known his wife for years. I've been around I've been around the house. I've seen the kids grow. I've seen the trials. I've seen the tribulations. I've seen him become as great as a basketball player as he was, from where he's taken it to a business standpoint. I mean, the fashion line. You actually the first one. All this stuff that's going on now, they just done took it to the point where I don't even understand it anymore. But you were the first one to start like adding the different things in there with the colors and starting to become a little bit more on the risque side. When you then you got the wine business and owner of a franchise, and I can't even think of what else you got going on. Well, it just keeps evolving and it just keeps growing.
Yeah, man. That's the goal, right? I think the one thing we've, like I said,
I know that you got a skin oil. You and the family got a skincare line now.
We got a baby brand that we just came out with.
Yeah,
for melanated babies. I think the biggest thing is very early in my career learning that basketball wasn't going to be forever. As much as you be like, I know what I want to do for the rest of my life, you really don't realize that it's only a small fraction of your life. But if you do it right, that small fraction can become everything else, right? And so along the way, I didn't do everything right, but I definitely have tried to learn from my mistakes. I've always tried to put people in place in my life that are smarter than me in certain areas, that I know that has my best interest in certain areas. And then too, I just try to keep everything as organic and authentic as possible. I don't really want to do anything that is not allowing me to be my best self, or something that makes me get out of bed every day and go do it. And so I'm just trying to pick the right things, and I'm lucky enough to have great relationships, and I'm smart enough to know I don't know everything. And so it's worked out for me, but I got a long way to go in business. It's the rest of my life. So I'm excited about trying to accomplish something once again that that was probably deemed impossible for me to do. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Dwyane, let me see those nails.
No, this one right here.
Yeah. So now, well, see, now here's the thing. He's been doing that for years. People don't know that. He's been coloring his nail. He used to paint his toenails back when he was playing.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, so this is who he is. He's like, I'm never gonna follow anybody. I'm never gonna follow anybody else. I mean, a great thing was, you know, his shoe brand. He had so many opportunities to say, hey, listen, I'm gonna stay with the traditions. The traditions that everybody else does, and he said, "No, this is the direction I'm going to go in." And everybody told him, "Man, this is crazy. This ain't going to work." He said, "You know what? I got to find out. I got to find out for myself."
Yeah. It's like when you got to take certain steps. Sometimes you are afraid, right? Like it's scary to take a step that you've never taken before, right? We all know that, and there's some people who have that opportunity to take that step and they just won't do it because of the fear of what's on the other side. I decided very early in my life that I won't be fearful of taking certain steps. And so I've been able to, and I've taken some steps that I've been in, you know, in some cement, but I've also taken a lot of steps that have allowed me to, you know, to find a new direction and find, you know, my way and my purpose and not following what everyone else does because, you know, I didn't come in this world with any, God gave me what he gave me. You know, Dwyane Wade is an individual, even though I'm named after my damn daddy. Try to live life that way and understanding that, you know, my journey is different. It has always been different from the next person's journey. We all have custom made, you know, journeys and paths in life. And so I try to keep that in mind as I'm going through that. It's not about what's good for someone else. It's really about what I truly feel that I want to do and be a part of, associate myself with and with who. And as hard as that is, that's how I've always tried to approach life.
When did you realize, though, that you were the guy? Like I imagine that championship run. You walk in, you're playing with Gary Payton, Shaq, Twan, you got Jason Williams, you got all these guys you probably grew up watching, but you're the guy. You know, was there something where you're like, that just clicked, where you're like, this is it? Even when you were 3 years in the league, I think you were?
Yeah, that was my third year. I think I knew it. I just didn't know how to say it or to how to do it. Like I knew it coming into after my second year in the NBA. I was like, okay, like we there, right? Like we were one game away from the finals because of my rib. I truly believe because of my rib injury, we wasn't able to beat the Pistons that year. But I knew coming back that I seen it. I knew I went to a level that most guys have never been to. And so my mentality was already different. But then the team changed. And now you bring in, you know, the Gary Paytons, the Antoine Walkers, the Jason Kidds, the Posies. And now you bring in all these veterans. And now I got to really, you know, I still don't know my place. And when it changed is when my teammates decided that they were going to get out the way and allow, you know, the young fella to go out and do what he's supposed to do. And that's to lead us, you know, in the way that I could. And so I felt it. So I felt when my teammates started coming around me, if somebody hit me the wrong way, if somebody talked to me the wrong way, you can feel it from your teammates, how they talking, or they'll take a tech or whatever. So I felt them started coming around me as like, you're the new leader. And that just gave me so much confidence to go out there and lead us.
Mm-hmm. And then I got to ask, of course, about 2010, you know, the second time where it looked like the Bulls, you were going to come home. Was it ever close? Beyond it, as years passed, you could tell the truth now. Was it ever close?
I think I've been very honest about that entire situation. I actually thought I was coming home as well. You know, it was nothing in my mind that didn't, you know, I felt that I did my time in Miami and I gave everything I was going to give. And I really felt the next step for me was, I felt I was ready to come home after 7 years in the league. But everything changed because of that summer of LeBron and Chris Bosh and myself all being free agents at the same time. That really changed the dynamic of probably what we all thought going into at the end of that season, where we would be that next year. And so I definitely thought I would be running up and down the court with a young Derrick Rose and like Luau and Joe Noah. Like you couldn't tell me I envisioned myself there. But at the same time, a piece of my heart was still in Miami because of, you know, what I built there and winning the championship and what that community meant to me. So I was torn, but I definitely thought like from a competing standpoint and where the franchises were, I felt like Chicago was going in the direction that I wanted to be in. And I felt like Miami was years behind, but everything changed.
That's the Godfather, Pat Riley. He don't play.
Listen, I want to be in a fight versus him when it comes down to it at the end, man. He knows how to win, and it's not always winning championships. He's a winner, man.
Yeah.
So he paints a pretty picture. And we all bought into what we could accomplish together. And it took us outside of our individual accomplishments and wants. Bron is coming off of 2 championships around that time. I'm coming off, a scoring title recently and All-Stars, and Chris doing the same. And the picture that Browse and the Heat painted, it was bigger than us individually. It was about now. It was about legacy. It was about this. We go back to Miami this past weekend, and we're legends. You know what I mean? In the sense of what we brought to that community and to what we did together. So he painted a beautiful picture, man, and we bought it. And we bought it.
And you know what? There's certain things that happen in stages of the game that changed. That was one of the things that literally changed the NBA.
Oh yeah,
it literally changed. It literally changed it changed the NBA. There's many things. There's other players that have come along, but that was a moment that changed the NBA.
Tim, I have a question for you. From the school that you come from, right, from the Jordan era and how teams were put together, and when you see a move like that, like you're in this generation, obviously you have a relationship with me, but it's a departure from probably what was done in the generation before. How did you personally feel about the move that we made in 2010? Like
I just wanted whatever the best decision is for my clients. That was it. All right, I didn't try to sway you one way or the other. The Bulls were like, they were breathing down my back. Hey, can you do? I said, listen, this is his decision. Wherever he wants to play, I don't want to be that individual that says, "Here, go play here," and then for my own reasons, that's got nothing to do with it. Part of my job was to educate and mentor to the point where he's smart enough and they're smart enough to make their own decisions, and then step into that decision and make it as successful as possible for that individual. If you guys didn't do it, somebody else was going to do it. Somebody else was going to do it. And like you said, the game has changed. It was something that was just that nobody had seen, and nobody actually, they saw that it was an unbelievable amount of talent coming together, but everybody says, it's great that we have 3 individuals that are coming together, but how are they going to gel together? Who's going to do what? Who's going to let the individual take the leads, and when the other persons are going to step back? So, and I know one thing about you is you constantly need to be challenged. All your growth, through your basketball career, through your life, is come through challenges. And this was a challenge that you needed to be a part of in order to create this legacy.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I'm to this day, I still look for challenges, right?
Yeah. He gets bored real easily. The one thing people don't know about Dwyane gets bored real easily. And here's the thing about boredom, all right? When you're bored, you can't recognize the enemy. You don't recognize the enemy when you're bored, all right? So the thing is, and he's always got something going on. He's got more going on now than he was when he was playing. There's always something involving.
Yeah, they say in the idle time is the devil's playground, right? And so in that moment of boredom, no. But yeah, for me, I've always got to the point where even when I decided to retire from the game. Now, a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, was my knee bone on bone probably my entire career? Yes. Should I have played? I played in the NBA and as good as I was because of injury. If it's scientific, no. So I overcame a lot, and a lot of it had to do with my training and, how I was able to, grow and evolve and the people I listened to along the way. But even so that I still walked away from the game, and I probably could have had some more years if I wanted to pull some more out. But I was bored with that process, that same process after year. I got bored with it. I didn't have, and it wasn't about, I wanted more points on my scoring total for the rest. You know what I mean? I wanted 25,000 points. I didn't have those goals. I had already accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish from that part of my life. And so instead of holding on, I was bored, with it. And I was like, I'd rather just go out and have a different kind of, challenge in life. And this is a big challenge that I'm out here. I've never been in a place where, like, I'm used to being on a team where I'm motivated. I'm used to my coaches having to motivate me, getting my ass some time. I'm used to wake-up calls on the road. I'm used to, like, certain things. And out here in this world, it's all on you. Your wake-up call is yourself. How do you push yourself to keep going and keep trying to provide and keep building? And so this is a way bigger challenge, a different challenge than I've ever had playing a game of basketball. And so I got my challenge.
Yeah, you got your challenge. You know, it's funny. After he won his second championship, and everybody's, there's everybody's celebrating, they're hugging, they're doing all that other stuff, and I go to him. I was like, "You need one more to complete your legacy." He just looked at me. He's like, "Damn, TG, you messing up the celebration." I said, "You need one more to complete your legacy."
Yeah.
Because there was a bunch of guys out there that had already won 2. Very, very few that have won 3. And I wanted to put that in his head. I was like, listen, because we don't settle for what everybody else we don't settle for what everybody else settles for. I said, one more for your legacy, whenever that is. We just got one more to go. And I never forget some of these stuff that we're sharing now. It's coming back to me, but that just shows you the drive that he had. That, man, I got 2. People like, I got 1. I can chill. He's like, no, 1 ain't enough. I got 2. You know what? Now you got to go. Now you got to go for it. Now you got to go for another one. And
so when he got 3, you cleared him to go on the banana boat? Is that what happened?
Hey, listen, my only question is that, boy, as long as everybody can swim, we're all good.
Then one of the things when we talk about brands, and I don't know if a lot of people do this or they even know a lot about it, and Tim knows because he's been there with me, Tom, over the last, 13 or 15 years. I can't remember the exact year we started, but I've been doing a brand summit. And my brand summit is I bring my brand partners together, put us in one room for 3 days, spend time together with the families, get to know each other personally, talk business, talk how we can collab, all these things. We've been doing this.
In a beautiful location, too. It ain't like he just getting a hotel. It ain't like he's getting a ballroom in a hotel. Yeah, we saw.
And, in the midst of that, Tim, where we're at, Tim, we still got to train. We still got to, like, Tim still that he owned me. I'm standing up too much, and he like, yo, you got to sit down. Like, I had to speak in the things to be like, hey, I know all this is, the brand is great, but it only works if that man right there is healthy. So I need this time. But, like, when you talk about building a brand, like, it's so much goes into it. And it's not just your ability to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? Especially to be able to have a brand beyond your playing days. And so just the work, man, that people don't see behind the scenes. Like, yeah, you got to work as a basketball player, but if you're trying to build a brand, I had to do the same amount of work in that at the same time as train and get myself prepared. So, yeah, man, just stuff that people don't know and they don't see.
Dwyane, we're going to let you go. I just got a couple of quick questions because you've given us so much of your time. So, obviously, listen, one of the things that we talk about this thing is being able to enjoy life and still be able to be in shape and do all that other stuff. And the thing about you is, like, listen, you maintain, we'll make sure we'll find a picture of this in this, what was the thing? What was the event that you and my wife were at? What I just saw where you were.
The makeout.
Yes. He's dressed in white. He's got the cane. He's got no shirt on. But the thing about it, got to show the six pack. But he's thinking, it's like, Dwyane enjoys life. He enjoys his wine. He enjoys his evenings out. He enjoys the food, and he's able to still enjoy what everybody says, you can't enjoy and still be in shape. Explain, just give us a few minutes right there of how you keep everything together and the pressures of all the different businesses you have, being in the public spotlight, having to raise a family also.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously we all in life, right? We all have our responsibilities, whatever they may be. Some may have 10, some may have 2. whatever it is. But one of my responsibilities in life is to feel good in life. Like, you know, when you play, especially just playing a professional sport, like at some point I'm going to need a knee replacement. At some point I may need a hip replacement, like all these things. And so if you ever felt that pain before, when you have too much weight on you and you can barely get out of the chair because your knees hurt, you can barely walk up the stairs because your knees hurt or your back, like all these things. And so when I retired, I took like 6 months off and I gained a little weight, like a lot of weight. My face was puffy, but my body hurt. I couldn't barely get out of seats without and I was like, this is not the life that I want to live. And so what I had to do I had to get myself out of that typical athlete mentality that once I retire, I'm not working out no more. I just had to make it a part of my lifestyle. And so I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to have, you know, when I'm at home, to have chefs to be able to prepare food that is good enough for me to be able to, you know, have the things I like, but also what I need. And then when I'm on the road and I'm traveling, I just don't eat everything in front of me, man. You know, I stayed consistent on my workouts. You know, I found the things that works for my body and how I want to look. Right now, I'm not trying to be a professional athlete. I'm trying to put on these clothes and look good in my clothes. So I kind of had to change my body a little bit. But to me, and my wife is non-negotiable. We have to feel physically good first before we can give.
Gab don't play. Gab don't play.
I'm working out every day, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to get up.
Yeah.
But the way you feel, man, if you don't feel good, you know, like you can't give your best to nothing else if you're physically in pain or hurting. And so there's certain things we can't control, that we don't know what's coming or we can't see. But what we can control is how much work we want to put in on every day of getting up, what we put in our body, food-wise, you know, and also, too, the work that we put on our body. And so it's very important for us, man.
And then, you know what, I always say this, listen, you can have the discomfort of working out and eating properly, or you can have the discomfort of carrying a bunch of extra weight around. You're going to feel uncomfortable both ways. You're gonna feel uncomfortable both ways. You're gonna have to choose one, or the other. Cool.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Well, Dwyane, honestly, being from Chicago, I always admire you. I love that you still have Robbins, Illinois in your bio. Honestly, it's just very cool, man. Just seeing a guy from there and what all you've accomplished. So that's, you know, thanks for representing Chicago and everything. It's awesome, man.
Oh man, that's the easy part. You know, I mean, it's to represent Chicago, and so. I'm just appreciative. Like, you know, I'm glad that we got a chance to get on here and I get a chance to talk to one of my favorite people, man. And just to see, you know, not only see my evolution, my growth, but also to see TG's evolution and growth. You know what I mean? My man out here writing books. My man or, you know, speaking, like I can learn from that. Like TG, I got to text you about some speaking engagement. That's a world now that I want to enter. You already in it. Yeah. I can now reach out and ask advice about that. Like this doesn't stop. And so, I'm just appreciative to be able to be in a situation, a place I'm in, and be able to have the relationships that, you know, that helps you evolve and helps you grow in life. So appreciate it, man.
Man, I love you so much, bro. Give my best to everybody. You know that. All right.
Already.
All right. And you know, if you need anything or anybody, I'm a phone call away.
You already know.
Yep.
I'm tapping in.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dwyane. All right. So that was Dwyane Wade. Thanks again to him for coming on. Really cool interview. Is there anything you can give us out of there that like what's a highlight story from those pickup games? Because I know people listen to all that great stuff and then they'll think of those pickup games and they'll think of some of the things that you've seen that were just probably, you know, the stories that nobody knows.
They went on for we'd have a set time where the guys would play, and it was like bragging rights every single day. We would play Monday through Thursday. We wouldn't play on Fridays. We'd go Monday through Thursday, and just the amount of trash talking that went after the games were over with. You know, because when the games were done, it was just like, okay, from there on, there's a whole recovery thing that has to be done. We didn't leave anything we took care of everything. So, you know, some of the guys jumped in the ice. Some of the guys jumped in the ice baths. You had the foam rollers. You had the foam rollers going afterwards. You had the stretching going afterward. There was other individuals that needed some extra work that would see the athletic trainers or the PTs. And the one thing that we even did, we even brought in catered food for each individual. So every player was on a eating regimen that was designed for that person, depending on what they would do. So it was just like, we created like a college atmosphere inside a facility to get the guys the results that they wanted.
It was a bubble kind of.
Yeah, and they wouldn't. The thing is, the games would get done maybe around 4, 8, 9 o'clock. These guys are still hanging out. And we're like, listen, it's time for you guys to get out of here. And just the amount of trash talking and what was going to happen, what they were going to do the next day, and so forth. I mean, there's a lot. One of the reasons we didn't have cameras in there is because of privacy stuff. And let the guys do their things. But it was. The games were so freaking competitive. Yeah. So competitive.
Ever fights break out?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, fights, disagreements, all kinds of stuff. And the thing is, we wouldn't let it was closed to the public. The only people that could come in during those games was the staff that was in there. We'd allow agents to come in, different NBA personnel. If a family or a friend wanted to come in, they'd have to clear it with, Dwyane would say, hey, I got so-and-so coming in, or, his sister would come in from time to time, or whoever wanted to come in. Yes, we'd allow those individuals to come in. But we went out of our way to really
accommodate these guys,
and create an environment where they could just be themselves.
Yeah. Was there a main source of trouble who was always getting into the fights and everything?
Antoine Walker.
No, really?
Yeah. Antoine Walker.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
What, he was just doing the shimmy in people's faces?
Not doing the shimmy, just the amount of trash he would take. He would just talk. It was just like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh.
I wouldn't have expected him, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But, there's probably a lot of people there, so
yeah,
there was maybe someone different. And was that so? Do you consider, like, since you went there, do you consider like that you worked with LeBron at one point or no?
No. See, so here's the thing.
Yeah, how do you distinguish
if I go in and I say, there's a lot of trainers out there in the business or skill experts. If they throw an individual a pass, they put them down. They put them down as their client. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. If they worked them out for 10 minutes, the next thing you know, I worked out. So and so's. There's a great story. So I was in a facility and I get a call from another skill trainer. And he's like, man, I want to come work with you. We should collaborate. We should do all this other stuff and doing all this thing. And he goes, yeah, I just finished working Elton Brand out. I'm like, oh, you did? Okay. I said, well, how did that work? Man, it was a great workout. So Elton's standing right in front of me. I had literally just finished working him out.
No way.
Yeah, Elton is standing right in front of me. So these people are coming with they love to embellish their stories and so forth. So we don't consider. I have a relationship with LeBron, but I never considered him a client because he wasn't with me long enough or spend enough time with me to call him a client. He'd come in for a week or 2 weeks, and it would be kind of like, here, more to kind of play pickup ball and just kind of hang out with the fellas, and we'd do a little so forth. But I would never consider LeBron a client. Carmelo Anthony used to come in. Same thing. Came in for a couple of weeks every summer. Can't call him a client.
Yeah.
Can't call him a client.
Was that like in your contract agreement with Michael or something?
No,
can't give up Michael's secret stuff to LeBron.
No, but you know what? It was just, here's the thing. Michael didn't. If you wanted to know what Michael was doing, all you had to do was ask him. He would tell you. He'd say, come work out with me. And when people come work out with him, they're like, yeah, this is a little bit more than what I was, what I thought it was about. And, as competitive as he was, he was, if he knew you were coming out to work out with him, the intensity went up even higher.
Now, question, I don't know why this just hit me now. Did the cigars ever affect him?
Did the cigars ever affect him? So what happened was after he started winning championships, I remember I started working with him. I came. We'd always start back up in the fall because they played all the way till the end of June, and then I know he was smoking cigars during the summertime, and I was like, all right, once training starts, he'll slow down or cease. He comes up to me, he goes, I'm not stopping. He goes, it's your job to figure out how I can perform at the highest level and still enjoy my cigars. Like, okay, so I'm like, all right, that's a new one for me. So here it is. I got an individual who's like, because you tell individuals, hey, don't smoke, don't do this, and I'm like, all right. So what did I start to do? I started to research all the different tobaccos that were out there, all the different cigars. See what effect had what on it, so I'd have a better understanding of what was going on. How you can, what you could drink or what you can eat from a performance standpoint. What supplements you could take. What were all these different things that were like, all right, that the cigar smoke would have the same adverse effect from a playing standpoint. So, those are different areas that, when athletes say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, because if those things, they get to a certain point where they've hired you as an expert and become like, hey, this is now a part of what I do. And then, there would be some points that you get to a certain point, hey, listen, Mike, I don't want you doing it. He's still listening. He's still listening to it. It wasn't like he was abusing it. It wasn't like he was abusing them. But it's your job as an individual who's working with people at the highest level to figure things out. That's what they hire you for.
Yeah. Oh, how many was you smoking a day?
That I don't remember.
No.
That I don't remember. A lot more during the summer than he was during the season.
On the golf course, he was doing more. Yeah. All right, then we could kind of take things to an end here. What are we looking at next week? Anything in mind for the audience, for me, for anything else?
Well, listen, the weather's starting to change. All right, so what I want individuals to do now is to try to do an activity one day out of the week. Try to do an activity outside. And here's a little tricks that I want people to start incorporating in their little things. So if you go inside and there's an escalator, take the stairs. Take the stairs up. Take the stairs down. If you see a moving sidewalk, if you're in the airport, don't go on the moving sidewalk. Go walk. All right. Just figure out a way to actually move more. The little small things that they will continue to add up. They'll continue to add up. Just figure out a way to get an activity. If you're an individual that goes to the gym 5 days a week, 4 days a week, or do one of the workouts outside. Just change something up.
Mm-hmm.
This is week 5 now. Just you got to add add a little variety so your mind doesn't start to get bored, and start and add one exercise.
What's a resistance one? Can you say one that you think is good that would apply? Because some people may not know. Before in the episode we were talking about resistance stuff.
Oh, so listen, a resistance. You can make it very complex. You want to do a very easy. I mean, not complex. For your lower body, you could do squats. You could do lunges. You could do step ups for your upper body. One of the best exercises that people have gotten away from is just doing push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And you can modify it in many different ways. You know, there people love to get into doing planks. All right. A lot of people do the planks incorrectly, so I'd rather have you do what's called compound movements, which use multiple joints. Like when you're doing a plank, it's an isometric. You're not doing that. There's not multiple joints being used. It's a static exercise. So when you do lunges, when you do push-ups, when you do squats, there's more than one joint being moved at a time. So it's a compound exercise. You'll end up burning more calories. You end up using larger muscle groups.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is now remember the buildup of everything that we talked about. You review your food list. Make sure you get your water intake. Your intensity levels now after a month now should start to increase. So your workouts, don't try to do a longer workout. Try to do more of an intense workout.
Condensed, yeah. Intense.
And here's from a nutrition standpoint. Pick a time in the evening that once that time hits, you no longer eat after that time.
Mm-hmm. Any suggested or what?
Well, everybody always talks about, like it should be like 7, 8 o'clock. Well, it depends on what time you get up. What time you get up in the morning? If what time if you have a family to deal with and a family likes to eat, family likes to sit down and eat together. What time you go to sleep? I would prefer just a good general rule is 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep. You want to wake up hungry. That's a key. You want to wake up hungry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's the thing. You want to wake up hungry.
Or when you wake up, get the oatmeal with the guy in the hat on there.
Get the guy with the hat. Yes.
There you go. All right then, Tim. There we go. That's episode 5, week 5. We'll be back next week for episode 6.
Yes.
We will see you then.